It is a crazy seller's market out there right now, guys. What can buyers and sellers do to account for the massive swing we've seen into the seller side? We're going to talk about that today. Hi, I'm Jason Geroux, designated broker and owner of 410 Real Estate, a multi-million-dollar producing real estate brokerage here in Gilbert, Arizona. And I'm excited to have you with us, excited to have you a part of the family. Before we talk about the seller's market today, would you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can get notified of videos that we put up like this? We try and put up some helpful real estate content. We try and go around town and highlight some local businesses so you know what's coming to town and places to check out, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. So hit that subscribe button, do me a favor. That'd be fantastic, and appreciate you thinking about it and considering that. But we're going to talk today about the seller's market. I've talked in previous videos about how crazy of a seller's market it is, and really what does that mean, a seller's market versus a buyer's market? Really, a balanced market, we've talked about it before, is anywhere between like a 3 to 5 month supply of homes on the market. Balanced market means that each side, buyer and seller, can both negotiate their way through the deal on pretty level playing field, pretty even ground, right? A buyer's market obviously means that there's a lot of supply and not enough demand, right? So buyers have a little bit of an advantage. Maybe they can ask for things like closing cost assistance, seller paid home warranty, seller paid HOA fees, things like that, longer close of escrows, lower down pay or lower earnest money, things like that. If you're in a buyer's market, the buyer has the negotiating power. In the seller's market, that means we have less homes than we have buyers. So increased demand, low supply. And what that results in is buyers not asking for those things and sellers being able to kind of stick to their guns and get the most money that they can out of the transaction, get the earnest money that they want to lock in the deal, get the escrow period that fits their needs, and not have to pay those extra concessions. We're even seeing buyers in some cases paying seller costs, buyers paying prorated taxes, buyers paying the seller's title fees, all those different things. Pretty crazy in the seller's market. So right now we're on a very, very seller-focused market. And what that means is we have about a month's supply of inventory on the market. And that's actually increased over the last couple of months. We went from, we had one point where we had about 4,000 homes total on the market in Phoenix. And we're selling 9,500 to 10,000 a month, so about a half a month's supply. If you're a buyer, it's actually starting to see a little bit more inventory, and a lot of the buyers that we were working with, that kind of, went and kind of hid behind the rock a little bit because they got tired of, $50,000 over asking price and waiving appraisals and waiving inspections and all that stuff. They've decided maybe to peek their head out a little bit again because we've got some more supply and we're seeing homes on the market for more than 12 hours before they're under contract. So as a buyer, it's starting to get a little bit better for you, and as a seller, it's still super strong. It's a month's supply. It's still very much a solid seller's market. But what can a buyer and a seller do to adjust for this massive swing into the seller's market side, and how to prepare for the future? So a seller obviously is adjusting by starting to adjust their expectations. Maybe they're used to, man, I got to fix everything in the house. I got to get everything up and spectacular and pristine. And while we have an advantage to having the home, fresh and clean and up to date and upgraded, you're going to get more dollars for those types of investments. There are buyers that are out there that are willing to purchase homes that are not in 100% updated condition and take on the task of updating it themselves. Sellers can adjust some of those expectations. Sellers can adjust to know that maybe they don't have to pay those closing costs. Maybe they don't have to pay for a bunch of repairs and things like that when the inspection comes back in. On the buyer's side, to adjust to a seller's market, you have to adjust your expectations. That you're not going to get into the home and try and put in a lowball offer or come to the table with, well, let's start at this price and this contract and see if they'll take it. And the worst they can say is no, and we can counter offer and stuff like that. When you've got 15 or 20 offers as a seller, you're not probably counter offering. So if you're a buyer, you need to adjust for that and know that, hey, if I love this home, I don't want to overpay necessarily, but I need to go in as strong as I possibly am willing to do so. And I'm comfortable doing it based on your personal financial goals and your family's financial goals. Again, I am not advocating overpaying. I'm not advocating getting in deeper than you need to get. I'm not advocating biting off more than you can chew. But if you're qualified for $500,000 and you're looking at homes that are $400,000 and maybe would, get through the appraisal at $425,000 or $450,000, do you love the home? You might need to go in a little bit over asking price so that you do that. You also need to adjust. So maybe you're thinking, I'll just ask them to pay 3% for closing costs. I'll ask them to pay for a home warranty. Those are the things that are making your offer less enticing to a seller. So it's just something you got to consider as a buyer when it comes to negotiating your way through this seller's market. We're gonna get through this, guys. It's gonna move up and down. I do this little thing every time I seem to do a video, but the market does that. It corrects. It moves up and down. We go buyer's market, seller's market, balanced market. It's always moving around. So we will get through this. If you're a seller, it's a fantastic time to sell. If you're a buyer, it's getting better out there. It's still a good time to buy if it matches your financial goals. You need to determine as a family what the goal of your real estate moves are. Are you paying $2,500 a month in rent when you can have a mortgage that's $2,300 a month by buying the home? Maybe it makes more sense to purchase, even if the prices are high. But I will caution anyone that says, oh, we're just going to wait for the market to drop and crash. Previous video we talked about the market, housing market bubble that is non-existent really right now. I would just encourage you that even if we may correct back to today's prices or right around today's prices by the time the market turns. Even if we drop 10 or 15%, but we've grown another 10 or 15%, it's going to be, a wash. Gone are the days of those, $80,000 homes that you could pick up or $100,000 homes that you could pick up. Phoenix's cost of living has increased over the last 18 months, and that's just kind of something I'm kind of like beating a dead horse, but I think Arizonans need to kind of get into that mentality that we are no longer that cheap cost of living place that we can count on. I appreciate this. I hope this was helpful to you. If you're a seller considering potentially selling a home, those are some things to think about. Definitely consult a professional. We would love to be that professional, by the way, but consult a professional so that you know what's happening in your specific neighborhood. And if you're a buyer, it's still a great time. And if you have questions about those sorts of things, also look for a professional. Even if you're looking at new build construction, we've talked about this before in previous videos as well, but if you're a buyer looking at new builds, it's even more important now to have a real estate professional on your side, because there are things like lotteries and extra down payments and all these different things that you need to know about and understand how to navigate and know the questions that you don't know to ask. It's nice to have somebody that does know to ask those questions. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please do me a favor, share with a friend, and do me a favor, comment below with your craziest experience in the housing market. I'm curious just to see what you might have experienced, whether it be as a seller or a buyer. What's the craziest thing you've ever gone through in this in the housing market? Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you being a part of the 410 family, and we'll see you again next time.